What's up, and welcome to another episode of Gizmo Slip Tech. Today we're talking about the Asus Scar 18. This thing is one of the best laptops for sure at CES 2023. Probably top 3 laptops easily between the Scar 16 and 18 both. I already made a quick video on the Scar 16, but I want to talk in more detail and just dive into more specs and information about the behind the scenes of what's going on with the Scar 18 and 16. They share a lot of the same technology. This is going to be mainly focused on the Scar 18 though, but most of the things I say will be also applicable to the Scar 16. Arguably the biggest upgrade for the Scar 18 is its new thermal cooling solution, and it's a multi-tier upgrade, so let's break it down, right? So the new heatsink design features 82.5% more surface area for the ultra-thin copper fans compared to the 2022 version of the Scar 17. Another big change is that all the ports on the rear of the device have been moved to the sides, and the entire rear of the laptop is now dedicated for all of these new copper fans. This made space for a third fan to be placed in the center of the laptop that sucks air in from under the keyboard and blows additional air across all of the heat pipes and just cools the entire center of the laptop much better. Now, Asus has also upgraded their liquid metal to Conductonaut Extreme, which features a purer, more conductive liquid metal, and it's also a much more expensive liquid metal as well. Asus is basically busting out all the stops here to make the Scar series the best it can possibly be. Now, this upgraded liquid metal is supposed to result in a 5-degree drop in temps compared to the cheaper liquid metal, and Asus claims users should have no temperature degradation over a 5-year period, assuming, of course, that you're keeping your fans cleaned and all of that. Now, the Scar 18 specs, let's break it down. It comes with an i9-13980H. When under a dual load, it can go up to 65 watts of power, meaning the GPU and CPU are both maxed out. And when the CPU is the only load, like to say rendering a video file or something, then it can go up to 125 watts of power, which is a monster amount of wattage going through that CPU. And I'm actually really curious what the temperatures are going to be. Are we going to be hitting like 90 plus, or is the new cooling solution going to be enough to actually keep those temperatures lower, like in the 70s, 80s, 60s, or something like that, even with the high wattages? I don't know. It's a laptop. It's going to be a big challenge, but hopefully Asus has managed to keep those temperatures down. So that you can get the Scar 18 with an RTX 4090 or an RTX 4080. They both feature 150 watt base TDP with 25 watts additional. Now, the 18-inch QHD Plus 240 Hz 600 nits 100% DCI P3 color gamut display is absolutely gorgeous. It has an 89% screen to body ratio, features G-Sync, and has advanced Optimus, meaning we can switch between the integrated GPU and the dedicated GPU without having to restart the machine. Now, you get 32 gigs of DDR5 4800 megahertz RAM and a 4 terabyte SSD set up with two 2 terabyte SSDs in RAID 0. So you're going to get super fast SSD speeds with this machine. HDMI 2.1, Thunderbolt 4, USB-C, and both Thunderbolt 4 and USB-C feature G-Sync capabilities for external monitors. And then, of course, there's an Ethernet port and a headphone port and 2 USB-As on the right side, which I don't really love. I always plug in a USB-A mouse, so that's going to kind of get in my way whenever I'm using the mouse on the right side. But this is one of the trade-offs you have when you're getting such an awesome thermal cooling solution with a tri-fan design, and the entire rear is the cooling, so yeah, these trade-offs. But that will be a deal breaker for some users looking at this machine. You do have a 90 watt hour battery, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.2, and a 720p webcam. The whole thing weighs 6.83 pounds, has a footprint of 15.71 inches by 11.5 inches. It is 0.91 inches thick for most of it, but it does get up to 1.21 inches at the thickest. The machine felt really great in the hand, high quality build quality, rigid, sturdy, and I love the high quality plastic material that the machine uses for the vast majority of the parts and components. You can switch out the corner display if you want to add a little distinctive styling between a few different corner panels, just like you could in the previous generations of the Scar. The RGB lighting on the Scar looks really great this year. I do think it is still just as classy as it's always been, unlike the Legion 7 Pro I, which is kind of a downgrade this year in my opinion. One nice upgrade that Asus did is remove the ribbon cable that went to the RGB light bar when you take the bottom of the chassis off. Like when I was taking my Scar 15 apart one time, I did rip that ribbon cable right out. It was certainly a little tense until I managed to get it reinserted back into the motherboard and it was all working in the end. But some people have broken their RGB light bar when they took the bottom off and didn't realize they had that ribbon cable attached. So this year you don't have to worry about that. There's no ribbon cable. Everything just works automatically when you take the bottom on and off, which is much better in my opinion. A little bit more about that 18-inch Nebula QHD Plus display. So this is a 16:10 aspect ratio, 2560 by 1600 resolution, 600 nits peak brightness, 500 nits typical bright, Dolby Vision certified, 3 millisecond response time, and oh my gosh, it's a gorgeous, beautiful, vibrant display. And if you're looking for a large gaming screen or a large screen for productivity, it's going to be very difficult to find a screen that's better than this one, though there are a handful of screens out there that are very competitive and maybe even a little bit better, like the MSI GT77 has 1000 nits HDR display, and the Acer Predator 18, I believe, also has over 1000 nits on that display. So there's some screens out there that are a little bit brighter, but this one gets about as colorful as you get in gaming laptop displays, which I love that. Now, if you look on the right, you can see the Scar 16, that has a mini LED backlight, which boosts the peak brightness up to 1100 nits brightness. Sadly, this is not compatible with the 18-inch display size for the Scar 18. I hope maybe next year Asus includes that because it does make the screen brighter and more vibrant and peaky looking. To me, this feature alone makes the Scar 16 maybe a little bit more desirable, but at the same time, 600 nits is still plenty bright, so it's not like you have a bad display on the Scar 18. It's still fantastic. Now, the Scar 18 features a full-size keyboard with a number pad with great all-around key feel, but sadly, the mechanical keyboard is no longer available on the Scar series. I really loved my Scar 15 mechanical keyboard from 2 years ago. I know that's going to make a lot of you very sad and be a deal breaker, but I think most people will still like the keyboard a lot on the Scar series, even without the mechanical keyboard. Now, we don't have the pricing available yet on the Scar 18, but I'm sure it's not going to be cheap. Pre-orders will begin early February. I cannot wait to see how well the laptop's new RTX 4090 holds up in games and how well Asus's new high-end cooling system improves temperatures. Is it the best laptop at CES 2023? I think maybe. It's, to me, the Scar 18 is right up there with the MSI GT77 for best, most powerful machine, but the specs on the GT77 are a little bit better. And for raw GPU performance, the XMG Neo 16 and 17 actually had me a little bit more excited because of the liquid cooling and overclocking on that machine. I did make a dedicated video talking about the overclocking on the Neo 16, and we demonstrated it in a live stream as well. So links down below to all of my CES content and coverage, including a ton more hands-on videos. I think I've made about 17 hands-on videos so far at CES. So playlist down below if you want to check out all of those videos. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on all of the upcoming CES content that I've already filmed and I just have yet to edit together into a video. See you in the next one. Brandon out. Yeah. Yeah.